So this was my best lap, 49.3 seconds. Can you beat it? Well, I'm going to show you my lap and then I'll explain it corner by corner. For turn 1, it's important that you enter it as wide as possible because you're going to take this corner flat out, entering it from the outside edge. With smooth, subtle turning, target a middle apex at the inside edge. It's important you lean your body slightly to the outside so you get more grip. By the time you exit the corner, make sure you're at the far left-hand side of the track. We're setting up for the chicane style corner, the left-right, and you want to drive this in as straight line as possible, minimizing any steering input, and that's going to bring us to our first braking point. It's actually a tap of the brake just to get more rotation into your kart as you take this right-hander, and the reason you'd slow the kart slightly down is because this part tends to be quite slippery. Make sure you use the full width of the track at the exit. This next sequence of double right-hand turns are taken flat out. Make sure you take a middle apex for the first part, and then you're wrapping your kart around also at the second right-hander, taking yet another middle apex. Let's observe up ahead now. If we look in a straight line, we want to drive again in a straight line as possible because we have a double left-hand sequence. For the first left-hander, you want to take a shallow apex, but really get your kart up close to take a middle apex for the second left-hander. For the exit part of the corner, start to open up your steering wheel. Make sure you use the full width of the track in preparation for our next braking point. It's for the sharp hairpin turn. For this hairpin turn, I found that hard braking is best because it helps get the rear rotated, and you'll notice as the rear end starts to slip out, I start to counter steer slightly as we execute a late apex. For a hairpin turn, a late apex is important because it's to maximize your exit speed. And speaking of exits, stick the kart in the middle, again staying to the right hand side now, a middle apex for our right hander. Slightly open up the steering wheel now, veering off to the left hand side in preparation for our double hairpin turns. This is going to be our next braking point. Keep the kart in the middle or 3/4 away from the inside edge. Another hard braking period to get the kart and the rear end rotated. For the first hairpin turn, we're targeting a late apex, and notice how the angle of the next corner now opens up for us. So we're going to drive in a brief straight line and then a sharp jab to the left, targeting another late apex. On exit, start opening up the steering wheel now to maximize your exit speed using the full width of the track. We're coming to the final sector now at Capital Karts. This is the really fun slingshot section, as I like to say, where you flick the kart to the left, absolutely flat out over here, and notice that after we take a middle apex, we're trying to drive to the next corner in a straight line as possible. Still, foot down to the floor, 100% of that accelerator, flick the kart now to the right, taking another middle apex. Because you're carrying a lot of speed, it's important that you don't lose your momentum, so open up the steering wheel, driving in a straight line to our next target apex point, which is to the left hand side over here. It'll feel natural, it'll feel as if you're coming right up to the barrier, but that's not a problem. Now it's important you keep the kart in the middle of the track. Notice how we're staying dead in the center. We're not carrying that much straight line speed down here, so don't waste meters by going to the left. Rather stay in the middle, and with some subtle smooth turning, again target a middle apex for your right hander. On exit, open up the steering wheel now. Make sure you use the full width of the track in preparation for a more free-flowing right-hander which is coming up. This corner is also taken flat out, no need to brake, just smooth, subtle steering to the right-hand side, executing a middle apex. Start opening up the steering as we go on to the final back straight, and this is our last braking point we're approaching just after the patch on the track. Hit the brakes hard, getting the kart rotated, and it's important that you're targeting a late apex. So you're going around this right-hander and just stay on the right-hand side. Now it's important you stay to the right-hand side, preparing for this sharp hairpin style turn where you'd actually briefly lift off the accelerator to get extra turn in for this sharp turn, and you're targeting a mid to late apex depending on the grip levels. As you start accelerating, open up the steering and start heading back to the right hand side, leaving a bit of gap so you can go around this right hander, and ideally you'd want to stay to the left hand side, but on this lap I had some lap traffic right at the end which did kind of spoil my run, so maybe there was a bit more lap time to be found. Because the track surface is quite slippery at capital karts, it's important that you apply the concept of slow in, fast out when cornering. Your aim should be to be faster at the exit of the corner rather than carrying too much entry speed, then sliding the kart, which loses your momentum and you lose lap time that way. Now if you're able to beat my lap time after this video goes up, then be sure to leave a comment and also let me know which tips and tricks you use at capital karts.